So here we have a very young, just freshly emerged specimens of the Dyer's conch, Dyer's polypore, what was it, the root rot?
Yeah, it's a butt rot. It's a pathogen of trees.
Right, so the foresters might have different names than the dyeing community, and the dyeing community has a Y in there. So they use these mushrooms for dyeing wool and silk. And these guys produce beautiful green colors. They're very small. They can get big. So they can get a foot, sometimes 2 foot across, and then you only see a little yellow or green on the edge. And so they are parasitizing here directly on this Douglas fir, and don't know how long it will take. Some of the parasites don't kill the host. Some will kill it over a certain period of time. I don't have the idea, but so this is a mushroom that is highly sought after by the dyeing community, which uses a whole range of mushrooms. The whole rainbow of colors can be extracted from mushrooms, and that's a pretty recent discovery. So we don't know about an ancient culture that knew about all these colors. This has developed in the last maybe 40, 50 years maximum, and part of it was spearheaded on the West Coast and in Scandinavia. So the mushroom dyeing community always after great colors, and many of the mushrooms you can change the colors by using different pH in the water, different mordants, metals you add, and so it's quite some alchemy.
So you called it a polypore. What does that mean?
Oh, the polypore. So poly is many, pores is tiny little pores under the cap. The spores are produced in these pores, and they can be extremely fine, can be a little bit wider, and the polypores, many of the polypores are pretty tough, woody mushrooms, conchs, so very firm. Only a handful of them are ending up in the cooking pots. Some of them are used for art, like the artist conch. Lots of them have very interesting medicinal components, especially for immune system stimulation and support. Long traditional use in all the cultures, and lots of also recent rediscovery and discovery of the medicinal capacity of these polypores.
You have a little guide to medicinal mushrooms, don't you?
Oh, I do. I'm realizing I'm sitting here in the sap, as I always end up doing in my current famous good trousers. So I produced here 2 little field guides. The one is the edible mushrooms of the Pacific Northwest, where you have about 50-60 of our best edibles presented, and a couple toxic ones to make you aware that there's risks out there. And then I have produced here with Robert Rogers, who's one of North America's leading medicinal mushroom guys, this field guide here on 33 different groups of medicinal mushrooms of North America, which I think we have at least 28, 29 out on here in the Pacific Northwest as well. So this can be always found on my webpage, mushroaming, to roam for mushrooms, mushroaming.com. And I call it mushroaming because I organize mushroom travels, take people like to Colombia, Bhutan, so the Himalayas, Tibet, the rainforest, or sometimes just local events. Yeah, so this is my mushroaming here. I'd rather be mushroaming. I made with my daughter. So gotta have your PR department, you know. Thanks for asking, Jim.
Well,
So-
you're working on it now. I understand you're working on a book on it.
I'm working on a book on the edibles of the Pacific Northwest. So it will still take time, but I've been working on it for a while, and it will take some more time. And doing it with the Mountaineers. So I'm very excited. Good publishing house, and we'll get good support from them. Always good to have a good editor, right?
Are you doing all the photography yourself?
Oh yeah, I try to do all the photography, but you know, in the end, there's a few mushrooms where I just never found the perfect specimen, or my photos, you know, are not good enough, and then I'm fine to ask other people using their photos, because I think we can communicate so much information in a good photo. In the old days, when there was only black and white and printing was a total luxury, that's why these mushrooms have these totally long, detailed descriptions, because we couldn't have good images of them. Now we have these images, and if you learn what to look for, there is so much in an image. It's just like a map, right? If you know what a map shows, it's incredible. You try to write everything you have in a map. I mean, you're writing books and books and books. And similar, looking at mushroom pictures. There is so much information in there if you know how to look. And you know, I will make sure to communicate it simple. That's I want it to make understandable without much of the terminology. A few things you have to learn, no way around that. But